Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video today. Today, we're going to be doing a video for what I think are the best instructions tactics are for the 4-2-3-1. Grammar was perfect there. So, we're going to go check out the custom tactics guide. I have to change out a few things here. Very, very minimal stuff here. 40, 45, and then this one was 48, and then this one was 44. With 42. Okay, so I'm going to explain the custom tactics, and I'm going to explain the instructions that I'm using for the 4-2-3-1 and why I think it's, for me personally, it's the best formation in the game. But that's a very subjective thing to say because there's no such thing as the best formation in FIFA, because anybody can do really well with any type of formation in FIFA. It just depends on what works best for you, right? So what works best for other people might not be the same for you. So in regards to the 4-2-3-1, I think it's the best formation because there's a good balance of being able to attack and being able to defend really well, right? So with players like Jordi Alba, Sergio Ramos, and TT, Kyle Walker, very good back four. I want to replace some TT and see if I can get Laurent Blanc or even Varane. I think that would be more ideal. Paul Pogba, I have to try him out as a CDM. I don't know how he's going to play as a CDM, but as a center mid, he's good. Goretzka, I've already tried him before. He's pretty sick. Ronaldinho, amazing. Literally one of the players I wanted the most. Pele, not a huge fan because the height and stuff, but although if the game plays decent, he's actually really nice to play with, and Ronaldo is just a god, right? So we're going to get into the instructions first. So the instructions that I'm using for the fullbacks is stay back while attacking, right? So that's the first instructions that I always set for the fullbacks. The next thing that I want to do for the CDMs is I want them to cut passing lanes and stay back while attacking. Now, the reason why I tell my players to stay back while attacking and cut passing lanes is because I'd rather them not man mark, because when they man mark, it basically pushes them out of position more often. So you'll notice that if you tell your players to cut passing lanes, right, they will block areas that are open for a pass to be able to make through, right? So when I tell my players before to only be unbalanced, I've noticed that man mark pushes them out of position more because they're tracking a run from another player. So if another person sets their instructions to get in behind and they know exactly where they're going to tell their players to get in behind, like for instance, if they're using like a 4-1-2-2 and they tell the two center mids to get in behind, my two CDMs will follow them, making it easier for them to exploit certain spaces. So what I tell them to do now is just cut passing lanes, because I want them to do that more often because of the defensive behavior that they have, right, where they don't follow someone. So I like them to be on cut passing lanes and stay back while attacking. For the cam, I like him to stay on the edge of the box. That's for my central cam, because I'm a very build-up type player, right? Like I like to build up the passing plays, and especially since sometimes if your gameplay is incredibly slow and sluggish, you're forced to play that style. So building up the play is what you need to do, right? So staying on the edge of the box is the most ideal thing for me. Depending on how the game is going, if I need that extra defensive presence, I'll tell them to come back on defense. But I like to keep them on balance because I like to have an attacking presence if my CDMs do end up getting the ball in the middle of the pitch, right? So with Ronaldinho and stuff, I like to tell them to stay on the edge of the box. The two cams on the sides, they stay on balance. Now, depending on how the game is going, I will switch, again, depending on how the game is going. So, with certain aspects, I would probably never tell them to stay forward, because I need to have like that defensive presence from the cams being able to push back from certain areas. I don't want them to completely stay forward. Although, if you really need that goal, it would be ideal to do. I think in regards to the crosses, I like to tell them to stay on the edge of the box, because it depends. I like them to be unbalanced, because even if I don't cross the ball, I like the cam pushing in so I can lay it back to my CDM so that the cams can come back from the box to the outside of the box so I can receive the ball and then do whatever, right? So it's just about, the instructions you use is all about dragging defenders out of positions, right? Because most of the times people will always use those stay back while attacking and all that stuff. You have to notice these things as you're playing against someone. If you notice that someone's fullbacks is always overlapping, that's when you tell your formation or your instructions to tell the players to get in behind, because you can exploit that space. It's all about noticing what people are doing against you, right? So most of the times the central cams from the left and the right, I just keep them on balance depending on how the game goes, right? And the striker, I tell him to get in behind most times because I want my striker to be putting this pressure on the back four so that I can create more space for my 3 cams. So that's why it's very important that your 3 cams is not only about the passing and the shooting and stuff. It's about everything. They need to essentially be strikers as your cams. Like I've always told people that my ideal thing to do right now is to get Prime R9, and Thierry Henry as my other cams. I prefer them over the Maradonas, the Messis, and all that stuff, right? So if I could get Thierry Henry on the left side and then Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo on the right side, this team would be very, very good. Missing a few players. I think I need Laurent Blanc. Maybe Mateus would be better than Pogba or Goretzka. I have to try that out. But those are the instructions that I do end up using. The custom tactics are the same as it was in the regular game mode because I want there to be a balance of not aggressively pushing forward, but not being too conservative, right? So the reason why I upped the pressure and aggression a little bit and I lowered the team width is because of this. So there's this new game mechanic where the Y passes or the through ball passes are very effective. The reason being is because they kind of screwed with the interceptions a little bit, which is a little bit stupid because even if the ball's like a foot away from them, sometimes they don't intercept it. Even if it's for me, it doesn't feel like it's worth having Nemanja Matic or Casemiro. I'd rather have Rashford as a center mid or CDM than those guys because the interceptions don't happen as much. It might with players like Conte. I haven't really tried him out yet, but I have to try that out, right? The reason why the team width is more narrow is because, again, of those through ball passes that can get into the middle of the pitch really easily. So I keep it at 42 to have a little bit of a balance there because I also have the cams pushing back because it's on balanced defensive work rates and sometimes come back on defense. So I'll have that extra presence on the sides if I really need it. Now, the pressure and aggression, I'm always changing, right? The pressure and aggression really depends on the opponent that you're facing. If you notice that they're really exploiting that finesse shot trait with Messi and Maradona, your pressure and your aggression has to be higher. Because if your pressure and aggression is lower, it'll be easier for people to take those finesse shots outside the box way more easily against you because you're not putting any pressure against them. That is completely down to the custom tactics that you have. So you have to change your pressure and aggression due to the other person's play style. So if they're playing a very conservative style, putting the pressure and aggression is nice when it's a little bit lower. So I put it to 48 because I want a little bit of pressure. I don't want to be too conservative, but I also want a little bit of aggression for my players so that if I'm not controlling them, they're doing it themselves, right? So those are the tactics instructions that I use. The instructions I use for every single formation. The reason why I don't use freeform is because, like I said, guys, I'm a very conservative player when I play. It's all about those close-knit passes, right? So I like my players being where they're supposed to be, and I don't like the freeform where they're moving however they want. Although changing tactics to try out different things, I would probably try out doing, but as of right now, it's not something that I recommend doing. So this is it for the 4-2-3-1 instructions and tactics. I hope you guys did enjoy this segment of the video. We're going to go ahead and show some draft gameplay of me using very similar instructions depending on the opponents that I'm going to be facing. And you'll see exactly how the players move around the pitch as we go. So we're going to go ahead and just show the squad builder aspect of the draft, and then we're going to do the commentary over the gameplay, and we're going to be talking about the specific moments that happen in the game that make this formation very effective. I need to try the 4-2-3-1 again. I want to see if that formation is the best one for me. Oh, Ether, boys. Ether. Oh, Rui Costa. Never tried a Rui Costa yet. 75 finishing, though. What about Nakata? Oh my gosh, 74 finishing. Why do you do this to these cards? Maradona. Okacha, Nakata. Okacha. I think Okacha is left-footed, right? He's right-footed with a 4-star weak foot. With Architect. So I might as well give it to Rui Costa. Oh, I just chose Dyer over Bakayoko. I'm so stupid. I literally just saw that like last second. I was like, don't do it. Koscielny's actually pretty good in this game. I like him a lot. Amavi, Shaw. I think Shaw would be the best. Oh, no De Gea. De Gea is the meaning of life. Oh, Yashin. That should be interesting. Pereira. Pereira would probably be a beast, actually. Cahill, Carvajal, Piszczek. This one doesn't matter. Coleman, cooking Coleman. Here. Let's get Ronaldo, yeah? Or Neymar. Roberto Firmino. Honestly, I think Roberto Firmino would actually be dope. Nope. Nope. Okay. I could try El Digna. I haven't tried him out over Luke Shaw yet. Croatian. Portuguese, Argentina. Francais? Deschamps. I don't have a crazy good striker right now, so that's a little bit concerning. I'm not gonna lie. That's a little concerning. I'll be honest with you, I'd actually probably rather use Roberto Firmino over Gamero. I mean, if it doesn't work out, Rui Costa is probably going to be my striker, and then I'll figure something out with that side. That's why I got Coleman, boys. Are your draft rewards good? My last one was pretty poor, but they're okay. They're not too bad. Alright, so the thing that I was mentioning in the instructions and tactics video is always about play style, right? So not every formation slash tactics or instructions is always going to work for you. There's no such thing as the best ones. There are ones that you can try out, but it might not always work the best for you. So if you do end up playing with the 4-2-3-1 from not my style and my instructions, my tactics that I use for the formation, my style is very heavily oriented around being more conservative, but also being a build-up player on the attack, right? So in regards to the formation, I like to have the CDMs to stay back while attacking and cut passing lanes, because when I push forward, I like being able to go back and then being able to pass to the CDM so that they can lay off the ball to the other cams, right? Now, everything is very situational, right? So if you notice that you don't want your left cam or your right cam to be on the edge of the boxes that often, but you want them to make those runs in behind more, you got to tell them to get into the box for the crosses and not stay on the edge of the box, right? So my thing with FIFA gameplay is that telling your players to always stay on the edge of the box is not always the best thing to do, because then you won't be able to, you know, have those runs that your players do end up making inside the box for you to score certain opportunities. So that's why I like to keep them on balance. But if I notice that the guy's defense is super conservative and, you know, making those runs in behind isn't necessarily going to work that well, that's when I'll tell my players to stay on the edge of the box and try to pop in those long shots, because the long shots are really effective, right? With the finesse long shots, very effective if you have players like Maradona and Messi and stuff, right? So it all depends on the play style that you have, right? There's certain formations that I don't like, but I can still do well with, right? So for people, they'll still, when they'll see me doing drafts with like the 4-1-4-1, and they'll say, oh, but it looks like you're doing really well with the 4-1-4-1. But like, when you're playing, you kind of realize what you like and dislike about the formation. It's all about making it work for yourself, right? So I'll do instructions and tactics for different formations as well. But for now, this is the best formation for me in the game, is the 4-2-3-1. So that's why I'm making it for this. But you guys will notice with the attacking and the defending, like when I'm pushing up, you'll notice the 4 attackers, right? But then you'll also notice where the CDMs are staying back while attacking. So that way, if I want to go back and pass the ball back to them, they actually do that more often. If you tell your cam to stay on the edge of the box, you'll notice that he doesn't go inside the box, so you don't have that space that's created in the middle that someone can exploit if they go in the counter attack against you. So that's why I like telling my CDMs to stay back while attacking cub passing lanes, and then my cam to stay on the edge of the box. So there's a balance between the two CDMs and the central cam, right? So it's very nice to have. So you'll notice all those movement situations that the players do end up doing for me to score certain opportunities. You'll notice here, this is also the free kick tactic. The free kick tactic is incredibly effective, especially in those really close areas right there, because players like Maradona, Pele, I don't think they have a run-up, because when your player has a specific run-up to take the free kick, it takes them longer to execute it, and then the timing is a little bit off, right? So that's the great thing about Maradona, is that because he's left-footed, if you tell someone like Pele or I think Ronaldinho has a run-up. If you tell someone like maybe even like Goretzka or something to be your initial free kick taker, and you could just lay it off to someone like Maradona because he's left-footed, so a left-footed player will make the run to the left side, right? He'll make the run on his strong foot. So very, very beneficial to have Maradona in the team for stuff like that, right? But the thing about FIFA, right, is that everything is very situational. So the players that I use, the instructions that I use, the tactics that I use really, really heavily depends on the person that I'm playing and the gameplay that I'm playing in. If I notice that my gameplay is incredibly slow and sluggish, I know that I have to either up the pressure and aggression, right? Because my defense is going to feel very, very unresponsive. So I'm going to need my players to do that themselves, right? So really, really depends on how the game is going, right? But with this formation, you'll notice a great presence on the defensive front and the attacking front. It's always nice, it's always beautiful to have two CDMs so that you could actually properly defend the middle of the pitch, because defending the middle of the pitch is the most important thing in FIFA. If you can't defend the middle of the pitch, that's when people will be able to exploit the areas around your team with more effectiveness, right? So in some games, I will tell my left cam and my right cam to come back at the defense, because I notice that he has this attacking presence on the side. As you can see from the attack right now, everything looks fine because he's not overcommitting his defenders to exploit the sides, right? So you'll still notice that people like Jordi Alba and Kyle Walker will sometimes push out a position, right? Like I don't think I have them in this draft, but sometimes those players will push out a position and have that space for me to be able to exploit. So you have to be very careful with those things, because fullbacks are usually more aggressively prone to pushing forward than staying back. So when that happens, it allows for people to exploit your sides more. So that's when it's nice to have the comeback and defense for the 4-2-3-1 narrow. And that's why I like using the one with the left mid and the right mid as well, because of that extra presence on the sides for me to be able to defend those sides a little bit better, right? So, but this draft was an incredibly frustrating one. You'll be able to see from the, this draft was one of those ones that had the sluggish gameplay. You can see that every time I receive the ball, they always put this emphasis on the ball, really, really slow gameplay. So when that happens, you have to be very conservative. You can even see there with Maradona how I tried to do a fake shot to get into the box and it just didn't register, right? So when the registry is off, you have to play how the game wants you to play, right? That's what some people need to understand. It's not really skilled, because you can't really play to your full potential with that lightning quickness that is what makes games really skilled, but you got to do the best you can under the circumstances that you're under. So because my gameplay is a little bit more sluggish, you can even see that his players doing the same thing. Even though it happens for both players, it doesn't necessarily make it skilled, right? Because I've played in gameplay before with people where one was fast and I beat them 5-0, and then one was awful and we tied 1-1, right? So it really doesn't work that way like people always say that it does, right? But in regards to the 4-2-3-1, like I said, the formation's balance is just so beautiful. The runs that the players make are really nice when you tell your cams to be on balance. They always make really, really nice runs. They always give that space to your strikers to exploit. In this draft in particular, I'm pretty sure that I ended up putting Maradona as a striker, because I really, really hate I really hate Rui Costa, the Portuguese cam in this game. So I ended up having to put Maradona as a striker, which, to be honest, is not the most ideal thing to do, in my opinion, because Maradona as a lone striker doesn't have the physical presence to be able to hold up the ball and lay it off to other people. If your left cam and your right cam are players like Maradona, like Pele, that's okay. to a certain extent, because physical is important in every position. I still want my Thierry Henrys and my Ronaldos in those positions, but it's okay to a certain extent because with players like Maradona and Pele, it's all about the runs that they make in behind the defense, right? So you have to really take into account those certain situations, right? I was mentioning in the video before of the players that I like and dislike, and I know people are going to say, "Oh, but I thought you hated this player." I don't hate that many players. I only hate players if the gameplay feels a certain way. So with FIFA right now, I don't like Maradona, Pele, Messi's if it's slow. But if it's not slow and it's very responsive, they're very fun players to use. Except for Messi. I'm not a huge fan of Messi in general because the thing about Messi's cards is that in the regular version of Ultimate Team, even his regular card wasn't very good. I needed to get his upgraded versions for me to like his card. The 80, I think it was like the 89 pace or something that just wasn't good enough for the lack of physical that he's just missing, right? The physical is always going to be an important thing, and that's my thing with Messi. Although his dribbling is really good, I need someone to be able to have the speed and the physical presence to come back, push forward on the attack, and it's very, very important for me, right? So because the regular Messi doesn't have those things, that's what makes me not really like the card that much. Although I think Neymar's a god, but at the same time, Neymar is a little bit taller, with a little bit better physical, and also his skill moves are incredibly quick, right? So big difference there with Neymar and Messi. If you upgrade Messi's stats, I still think Neymar would be better because Neymar is also 5-star. So I actually notice that I score more with Neymar's left foot than I do with his right foot. I actually don't remember many opportunities that I've had where I actually scored with his right foot other than his left foot. And it's a very interesting thing because Maradona, I believe, has better finishing and composure than Neymar's card does, but Neymar's left foot is more consistent than Maradona's left foot. And I know that's a very weird thing to say, but it's kind of just like the things that I've noticed in the game, and that's why I really like Neymar. Again, the only problem with Neymar is that the gameplay is sluggish. His physical presence is going to be really noticeable because you can't really dribble quickly with him that much, right? So, but when you can, he's a literal god. When I play drafts nowadays, I always tell my stream, I'm like, please give me Ronaldo or Neymar. I need either of those two. I can't use any other striker in the game. When I use like the Werners and stuff, like I'm just missing too many things. Being able to do the skill moves, being able to have like this lightning quickness, being able to have that shot power. Because Neymar has the craziest shot power on the spot with no momentum, and that's a really good characteristic to have. When you're not moving that much but you can still score, it's really nice to have. But that is going to conclude this draft, guys. We're going to go ahead and go to the rewards. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys want more of these, be sure to drop a like on the video. Definitely helps out the channel a lot. We're going to go ahead and check out the rewards that we got, and I appreciate you guys watching the video. Peace. Oh, they gave me the shit one again. I'll still use the players towards SPC, so it's fine. William Carvalho. Danilo. Okay. Maradona missed a lot of chances. You know his finishing is pretty consistent as Neymar's, for the most part, if the game wants him to. French is always nice. Lloris. Mandanda. French is always nice. Quote-unquote Inception 2018. Oh shit. They actually gave me a lot of cards. Thauvin. Use those cards towards the European SBCs. Do you think they will release more SBCs? I have duplicate Pep, and I don't know if I should hold on to him. I'm sure that they will, dude. I'm sure they will. Globally? Nice. No reason to delete dupes when we have dupe storage. It's more for people if they run out, right? Hugman's son. Lozano. Corona. Corona. Don't do the continent SBCs. Save players for better SBCs. I probably should, to be honest. But I think the only time I'll do SBCs is if I have duplicates, you know? If I have duplicates, then I'll trade them in.